People don't have to love you, but they got to trust you. They want you to be their Sherpa, their guide. They don't want you to be like this hardcore closer. That doesn't work. People don't want to be closed. Well, the market was hot. Everybody was excited. Now, is that same tactic or those same selling skills going to work with a prospect who's scared about buying, nervous about the market, who doesn't trust the fact that you're a salesperson and they think you're a commodity? The rapport you want is this prospect trusting me enough to share things with me. If they don't, guess what? They're just not going to use you on their transaction. What's up? Welcome back. I am your host of this amazing show, Coach Vikram. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And I don't even know what time you watch this at, but let's talk about it. Have you noticed the shift in the market? Have you noticed that the real estate market is different now than it was a year ago? Because if you haven't noticed that, you probably aren't selling any real estate, or maybe you got just such a really solid business that it's just business as usual. But about 80, maybe 85% of every single real estate agent that I've talked to, whether they were doing $500,000 in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, almost every single one is struggling right now to an extent. I'm not going to go out on the limb and say people are poor, because that'd be crazy and ludicrous, but people are noticing the market's different. And my clients that are winning versus my clients who are struggling are my clients that are winning are following a process. And I talked about this yesterday in the Real Estate Sales Academy. We were talking about processes, right? And one of my clients asked me a question yesterday, and it was a very basic question, but I'm glad he asked it to me because it allowed me to see that his processes were broken, which is why his sales are broken. And inside the Real Estate Sales Academy, we predominantly talk about sales, how to connect with the prospect, how to create trust, how to create rapport, right? Not the Ford question rapport, right? Not the, oh, do you like coffee? I like coffee. Oh, you like Hawaii? I like Hawaii. Oh my gosh, you like Range Rovers? I like Range Rovers. Not that kind of rapport, but the rapport that actually gets your clients to talk to you, right? Inside the Real Estate Sales Academy, we talk about how to use pauses, how to use ums and ahs, and oh, really? To allow the prospect to know that we're still engaged in the conversation, right? We utilize a lot of the tips and a lot of the skills that top agents in your marketplace have, and they might have them naturally. Even your team leader, if you're on a team, might possess these charismatic skills. Oh, my broker's so charismatic. Maybe they just know how to use pauses and ums and oohs and ahs and oh reallys better than you do. Maybe. To listening to thousands and thousands of recordings over the years, to listening to my team on calls dialed in. What I know is that most agents talk either too fast, too slow, or your tonality shifts up or it shifts down when it shouldn't, or you're coming in too hot, right? I'm just overly excited. Or your sales process for follow-up is, hey, yeah, so Daniela, I'm just calling you back because, and the prospect's thinking, get to the point. What do you want? I know you're a salesperson. Yeah. So this is Vikram, and I'm calling. You remember you told me to call you back 3 months ago? Well, my system told me to call you back, so I'm calling you back. Hi. Or one of my favorite conversations that I get to coach my clients on when they first start working with me is this one. This one's really good. Like really good, and it's like really horrible. So they'll open up the conversation and it'll be pretty decent. Like they're not alarming the prospect. They're not throwing out a ton of red flags, but then they'll say something after like 3 sentences. So, how quickly did you want to buy a home? I'm just going to drink a little coffee to this one. Guys, my coffee's decaf. I know I'm a cheater. Now imagine my buddy Cody, right? Cody was out to I say this all the time. You guys expect people to remember you, which is ludicrous, right? They had a 17-second conversation with you. It was probably not the greatest of conversations. And then you expect these people to remember you? That's arrogance at its finest. So Cody's out with one of his buddies the other day, and he spent 2.5 hours with this couple, right? 2.5 hours with this couple. And at the end of the meeting, or minute of his lunch, he comes over to my house. He's like, yo, dude, I just met the coolest people ever. I'm like, oh, really? What's their name? He's like, oh, my buddy, blah, blah, blah. And then his girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, does the girlfriend have a name? Because we're all going to hang out at some point. He's like, bro, I literally spent 2.5 hours with these people. We had such amazing conversations. We talked about work and health and the world and travel and Joe Dispenza and meditation. We talked about this. We talked about that. And I go, okay. And tell me more. We did this. We did this. Okay. You're with these people for 2.5 hours of your life. Yeah. I was like, what's her name? He's like, bro, I literally, if you gave me $1 million, I couldn't remember it. He's like, I don't even know what the letter starts with. And we, as real estate agents, have the audacity to think that somebody's going to actually remember us. So you're making your follow-up call. Hey, do you remember me? It's your real estate agent. They're like, we don't have a real estate agent. You're not their agent just because you say you are. You are not the trusted advisor just because you say you're the trusted advisor. If you don't know how to build trust, rapport, and influence in a methodical way, you will not build trust with your prospect. You know why? Because you're rambling and you don't know what to actually say. You've been told that you should close. You should be told that you guys need to come in and hard close everybody. And guess what? That shiz don't work. People don't want to be closed. Oh my God, really, Vikram? They don't want me to close them? No. People want to come to an agreement together. They want you to be their Sherpa, their guide. They want you to be your shaman. They don't want you to be like this hardcore closer. That doesn't work, right? Like it just doesn't work. Grant Cardone's team, like they make hundreds of calls an hour, thousands probably. And they are so high pressure. Yo, bro, I got your seat reserved for you for 10X, man. Don't you want to 10X your life? I don't know, bro. What if my life's really great right now and I don't want to 10X it with this strategy? Guess what? If you use that 10X yo bro on most of your prospects, yo bro, they're probably not going to book an appointment with you. So building trust, building rapport, and building influence is probably very different than what you were taught, if you were even taught anything. Because you as an agent was taught some really, really minor, most real estate agents I know weren't even taught how to write a contract, right? So it's like kind of weird. How are you going to make sales if you weren't even taught how to write a contract? Like, come on, it's kind of a weird industry we're in. So going back to our call yesterday, the question that I was asked by one of the newer people in the group was, Hey Vic, I have a listing coming up and there's trash in the house. Who do I call? And I'm shocked because it seems so basic to a lot of us. But I'm not shocked because it just shows that there's a lack of a process. This particular real estate agent doesn't have a process, doesn't have a team, doesn't have resources available. So when somebody needs to list their home and there's junk removal, it's very stressful because he doesn't know who to call, right? What's your process look like? And then let's talk about your sales process. What do you do when you get a lead, right? A future client. What do you do when you get a name into your inbox? What do you do when you get an email? What do you do when you get a phone call that says, hey, we're thinking about selling our home. We're thinking about actually purchasing a home right now, right? First, a lot of you get really excited because you've been waiting for weeks and months for this potential person to come in. And then a lot of us get very needy because we don't have a pipeline. So what's your sales process, right? When you post on social media, people aren't going to just naturally reach out to you right out the gate, but people might like your content. People might comment on your posts. People might watch your stories and give you a heart. What's your process behind that? Do you have one? If you don't have one, there's really no point in making content, right? Kind of pointless if you don't have a strategy. When you get a new lead, what's your strategy? When you meet somebody at a coffee shop, what's your strategy? What's your process? Where do you put those people? How do you communicate with those people? How many times do we follow up with those people? How many times do we talk to those people, right? What is our process that drives the result that we want. All right, so now we got the lead. Let's say you do have a process, right? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You have a future client name and number and an email. What now? What's your first interaction with them going to be? Is it a text message? Is it a video? Is it a phone call? I know phone calls are scary. I know videos are scary. I know text messages are scary. I also know being broke is scary. So what's your first attempt to reach out to these people? How soon is it going to be to reach out to these people? Does it differ if it's an internet lead or if it's a DM from a social media post, or does it differ if it's a referral, right? What do you say when you reach out to these people, right? Most real estate agents don't actually have even an opener. So let's say you get let's say you got an Instagram DM, right? And the person's like, hey, I'm interested in buying a house. And you're like, great. What's your phone number? They're like, here it is. What's your email? Here it is. Great. I'm going to give you a call. They're like, cool, no worries. You don't book a solid appointment, but you tell them you're going to call. You call. What do you say? What's the first thing out of your mouth, right? How do you take them from being a cold prospect, or, maybe they're warmed up because they've seen some of your content? How do you take them from a cold prospect to a future client? What happens if they're not ready to buy for 6 months, 9 months, right? What if they don't want to sit down with you? What if the things you're saying is triggering sales resistance and you don't even realize it because nobody actually taught you what sales resistance is? What if you spend, like a guy who used to work for me, what if you spend the first 5 to 7 minutes trying to figure out about what their kids did over the weekend and what they ate and what color their diarrhea was? Like, what a waste of time when these people are probably busy and you're talking about their kids when they're like, yo, we need to buy a home, and you have zero motivation. Okay, the phone hangs up, calls over. You know that their kid, they got 3 kids. Great, awesome. Why are they moving? I don't know. Well, they got 3 kids. Okay, but why are they moving? I don't know. Are the kids part of the reason they're moving? I don't know. Do they need to be in better schools? I don't know. Do they need a bigger house? I don't know. Oh yeah, they need a bigger house. How do you know? Well, they told me their house is too small. What's small about it? How big is it? How many bedrooms? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, you guys, you want to be a trusted advisor, but you get a lot of I don't knows. And every time we get an I don't know, it's just an opportunity lost to connect, to build trust and real rapport. Here's what real rapport is in today's day and age. Real rapport in today's selling environment is where the prospect feels comfortable to tell you why they actually want to buy or sell a piece of property. It does not have to do with the fact that you guys both send your kids to the same school, although that might help. And, it does show that you guys have similar values. It does not mean that you guys vacation at the same island in Hawaii, right? It does not mean that, we both wear Rolexes, right? Those are all great things, but those aren't going to get you the rapport you want. The rapport you want is this prospect trusting me enough to share things with me? And if they don't, guess what? They're just not going to use you on their transaction. So modern day trust, rapport, influence, right? People don't have to love you, but they got to trust you. People don't need to vacation at the same spot as you, but they got to be willing to open up to you. And influence, right? Well, if we don't have trust and rapport, we don't even need to discuss influence because we're never going to get there. So what you were taught in the momentum-based market, right? You were taught in the momentum-based market, be friendly, be outgoing, be cheering, right? Be overly excited. Well, the market was hot. Everybody was excited. There was a lot of excitement in the market. Now, is that same tactic or those same selling skills going to work with a prospect who's nervous about the market, who's scared about buying, who doesn't trust the fact that you're a salesperson and they think you're a commodity? And then you ask the same questions that every other real estate agent asks? Do you think that that's going to get you this client? Do you think that's going to get you the meeting? Or when we have clients that call me, Vic, I get so many meetings. I'm doing so great with booking meetings, but nobody shows. Let's listen to your call. Oh, well, you're too aggressive. Tone it down a little bit. Slow down. You don't have to lose your authority. You don't have to lose your assertiveness, but you should slow down. Oh, listen to these questions. Like 4 questions, rapid fire, bat, 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 bat. No transition, no slowdown, no pausing, no, could you explain more than that? Could you explain a little bit more to me? Guess what? Every call's different. If every call is different, that means you don't have a script. You don't have a process. Why'd you ask this question? I have no idea. Well, if you don't know, I don't know. Is it on your script? No. So why did we ask this question? I don't know. Okay, well, that's not the way we should be working then, right? If we don't know why we're asking questions, that's a problem. So let's analyze, let's dissect this call, right? And if you listen to 3 or 4 calls in a row, you'll start to see patterns, right? People don't want to do that. It's not fun. I don't like the sound of my own voice, but it's necessary. So if you're looking to grow your business, if you're looking to grow your sales, if you're looking to make more money, right? You want to go from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, right? Maybe you're just trying to keep the momentum going because you have a good month and then a bad month and a good month and you don't know why. Do me a favor, leave a comment below. My team and I will get back to you, or just jam over to Instagram, Coach Vikram Deol, throw a comment in my DM, and we'll see what the next steps are for you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this one. Remember, build trust, build rapport, have influence, create a sales process, and go out and crush the market. I'll talk to you later. Peace.